I've got that recording somewhere. Me and old Jared Leto.
Oh my God, do you think he'd sue us if you made it a podcast episode?
No.
Oh boy, fans. Hello, siblings. I got to
So
get that
that
in there right
concludes
away.
this week's podcast.
Yeah, so me and Adrian just talked for 20 minutes about movies, and then I realized I wasn't recording. So, should we talk about what we just talked about or just leave
Well,
it
we
for.
we were talking about the transhumanist project behind Blade Runner 2049.
Well, that's
Very,
not
very
how
enjoyable
we
film.
started. But,
Very good film,
okay,
but
I do.
but
Sorry.
a very sinister film in some ways.
Okay, we did get to Blade Runner 2049 after 20 minutes of talking about movies because I got torched on threads ish. So I just want to bring this up again. It's going to be hard because me and Adrian just talked about this.
Let's
So,
try and repeat what we said, like verbatim, word
oh,
for
that'll
word.
never happen. I can't even.
Augie, go downstairs. Go, good boy.
Adrian's talking to his dog. I
He's very
am
smart.
happy that we restarted because there was a lot of Dale forgetting names of actors he was talking about, and I just looked dumb. So
Oh, so
now
painful.
So now that we restarted, I won't forget any names and I will look so smart until I explain my taste in movies and why I like superhero movies. Okay, so on Threads, I made a post about Supergirl because I watched Superman a couple years ago whenever it came out and I liked it. Adrian, did you like it?
I didn't see it. My
Okay,
son saw it and reported back to me.
what did he think?
Sucks.
Okay, I say watch it. It's because it's James Gunn, so it's like a superhero movie that's an action comedy, and I recommend. But anyways, so I made this post because I saw Supergirl's at the end of Superman, and I was like, she looks familiar. What do I know her from? And then like whatever, just out of my head because I always see actors and actresses, and they always remind me of something, and I'm like, did I see this character or did I see this actor in something like a long time ago? And that's why I'm thinking about it. And then it hit me. I'm like, she looks like fucking Boomerang Kid from Road Warrior, or as
Mad
Adrian
Max
calls it,
2.
Mad Max 2. And I was like, that's hilarious because it's so fucking obviously not the kid from Road Warrior. And then I posted on Threads, I said, glad to see Boomerang Kid from Road Warriors still getting acting gigs. And the internet got upset at me because apparently that misogynist view is why Supergirl is doing bad and not making billions of dollars. And it's not because it's some no-name actor who they trot or no-name director that they trot out every 5 or 6 years. Because his me and Adrian, sorry, this is kind of weird because it's like we're kind of like abbreviating talking about it because we already went through like the discovery of me Googling the director, but he directed
Craig
Cruella
Gillespie.
and I, Tanya, and those are the only movies he directed, and those are like 6 years apart. So Adrian was saying that it's a money laundering scheme. And they only took him off the shelf because he's been a bad boy, so he doesn't get to direct big movies unless they want him to direct a movie that tanks so they can make a bunch of money. Which is funny because didn't some chick win an Oscar for I, Tanya?
Right.
The
The what?
supporting actress.
Oh, I don't know who won,
That old
but it was
lady.
a well-received film, and it was a very fine performance by what's her chops, the lady from
The show mom.
what?
The lady from the show mom.
I don't know about that. The lady, that very nice looking woman from The Big Short, from that Scorsese film about Jordan, what's his face?
Oh,
Now I'm forgetting everything. The Wolf of Wall
fucking.
Street. And then she was in, of course, she played Sharon Tate in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
What the
What's her
fuck is her
name?
name? She's
Yeah, I
super
know.
famous. She's in
Super
Barbie.
famous. And she played Tanya Harding, which, was an interesting casting choice because Tanya Harding, who
Was
I have sympathy for Tanya Harding.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Why?
But
Because she was a victim of circumstance that she set up?
no, but I think she was just a simple person who got eaten by the machine.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Hold
As
on,
for
hold
Nancy
on,
Kerrigan,
hold on, hold on. Margot Robbie,
there it is.
who, speaking of superhero movies, was in a couple bangers,
Well,
I
okay,
think.
but
Was she in the Suicide Squad that nobody liked or the Suicide
yeah,
Squad that everybody
she
liked?
was Harley Quinn. I didn't see it, but I mean, all of these movies are highly suspect. Anything that has Jared Leto in it is
Yeah, Jared
highly
Leto's poison. I don't know why they keep putting him in movies.
well because he's a plant.
Cult leader?
He's that, or
Yeah.
he purports to be. I mean, who knows? But he's obviously a very, very spooked up guy.
Oh yeah.
Very.
What isn't he one of those guys whose parents was like a spook or something?
I don't recall, but I do know that in I think it was in high school, which was in the DC area. One of a very influential teacher in his life was John Kirikow. Is that how you say his
Oh,
name? He
shut
was,
up. Really? That guy's on every podcast I listen to lately.
yeah, he's a CIA agent pretending to be a man who's left the CIA, a whistleblower. I
Wait,
don't
is
know.
that
I
the
don't
guy
know.
who went to jail?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Oh wait,
I
I
don't
think I
know.
really like John Kirikow.
Yeah. Well, you would be meant to, but so yeah, no, there's I mean a billion questions around Jared Leto.
Yeah.
And no, and he's I think in the customary way, uh he's trolling people when he does things like buying Lookout Mountain. He owns Lookout Mountain,
Yeah.
right? And
We've talked about
and-
Lookout
or
Mountain
or
extensively,
he
so
played Mark Chapman in this really wretched film
did he wear a
about
fat suit for that? Was they like giving
no,
him makeup to look fat?
because part of his thing is he's method.
Oh god. I hate him
And,
so much.
I could go on a real I could get really weird really fast and talk about how the method is rooted in a kind of occultism.
Yeah, you can do that if you want.
The method, I believe, is rooted in a kind of occultism. But nonetheless, Jared Leto is now a practitioner of the method, and yeah, he put on a bunch of weight for Chapter 27. There's all sorts of weirdness around that film. Lindsay Lohan is his co-star, and the
Oh,
guy
when
that
I
plays John Lennon in that film. Can you guess the name of that actor? You've never heard of him before. He's only really had a few roles. The name of the actor who played John Lennon in Chapter 27, which is a film about Mark Chapman, the alleged assassin. Well, the convicted assassin. He didn't do it, but the
Oh,
convicted
he
assassin.
didn't?
Of course he didn't. He was
Who
a,
did it?
I don't know. I don't know. What Mark Chapman. But I mean, even Sean Lennon has uh, indicated rather strongly that that's the case. And then he didn't never said anything again. I think he got the talk. But yeah. Anyway, the actor that played John Lennon in Chapter 27, starring Jared Leto as Mark Chapman, that actor's name is Mark Chapman.
Shut up.
No, I won't shut up.
No, shut. That's crazy. Like, is it like the why? Is it the Mark Chapman?
Well, no.
Because he's out, isn't he? Doesn't he have music?
Oh, fuck no. No, you're thinking of Hinckley.
Yeah, yeah.
John Hinckley. John Hinckley Jr., friend of the Bush family.
Okay. So, anyways, sorry for the rough transition, but I feel like it's inorganic for us to talk about this anymore. I just want to say that when I was getting torched on threads, I didn't get ratioed because I got 301 likes and 297 replies. So that
Oh,
means I wasn't ratio because
you're
ratios,
winning.
yeah, ratioed when you get more replies than likes, meaning people complaining about it more than they like it. So I didn't get ratioed, so I'm still good. So
I
I'm not
saw
canceled.
I saw your
Try
thing.
again, losers.
I thought it was quite amusing myself.
Yeah,
And
because you have a good
I
sense
feel
of
bad.
humor.
I feel bad for Miss, is her name Millie Jackson? Is that what they call her? I feel bad
Yeah, I
for
think
this
so.
young woman who's been led astray.
Well,
And
she's super rich and gets to be in
she
movies.
well, no, she's a bit like a burner phone. Like they put her in a film which is meant to fail.
Millie
Oh,
Alcock. That's her name.
Millie Alcock. Thank you. Who the fuck is Millie Jackson? Anyway, Millie Alcock. Feel for her. I mean, she probably shouldn't have run her mouth as much as she did about, how patriarchy is ruining everything, whether it is or
I
not.
think they have to say that when they're in a movie starring a girl and it fails.
But not like that. And furthermore, I mean, I don't think that, Supergirl wasn't really meant for girls, or was it just meant as like wank material for comic book boys?
Maybe. I think that's Power Girl though. So this was her first big movie. She was in some other movies and she was in House of the Dragon. So that's how most people know her. And that's why people were defending her because they liked her in that.
Well, she seems like a very sweet young lady.
Oh, I'm sure
Yeah.
she's lovely.
And
And
it's
she
a
is
shame.
not unattractive, but she
She
looks like
does
Boomerang
also.
Kid from
She looks
Road
like
Warrior.
Boomerang Kid grown up, and
Yeah.
but in the Boomerang Kid grown up is supposed to be Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Did you like Furiosa?
I didn't see it.
Mm.
I don't know. For some reason I don't like the chick who played it. Like that chick with the big eyes that are too far apart.
Yeah.
What was she in that fucking movie about sex and chess? Cool.
Yeah, the Queen's
Just
Gambit.
wanna just what I want to watch. Some girl who's super hot have sex and play chess. I didn't watch that either. I don't know what it's about, but I assume it's about sex and chess.
It was. She was in The Witch, and yeah, she's been in some. I mean, she might be a female Jared Leto.
Yeah, I don't know. She just this is gonna make me sound like a fucking dickhead, but her looks are off-putting, and I don't like looking at her on screen. And I feel like I should be able to say that because she gets paid millions of dollars to be in movies.
Well, she was good enough
So,
in Furiosa, which I enjoyed.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, movies like that, it's good because you're like, where you look weird and off putting adds to the plot of the movie.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
Humongous from Mad Max when he fucking wore a hockey goalie mask and fucking S&M leather bondage suit. You're like, that guy is off putting, but it adds to the plot of this movie.
That was Mad Max 2.
What did I say? Just Mad Max? I meant
Yeah,
Road Warrior again.
Mad Max. You had Toe Cutter, but
Maybe I should watch Road Warrior again.
oh, it's really good. But on the subject, man, I had a really good point that I wanted to make.
And that I talk too
But
much.
yeah, exactly.
That's
What's
like,
her, Anya Taylor-Joy? Is that her
yeah,
name?
that's her name. Good job. You're better at names than I am.
Yeah, these people all come from prominent families. What's with that?
You want to know what is with that?
Hmm.
Is because people who don't have money can't sit around waiting for casting calls to return them and work on their acting. They have to go get fucking jobs and do work because they have to pay their bills.
James Franco, meanwhile, has adopted we've mentioned the Process Church, the Final Judgment in previous
Wait,
episodes.
wait, wait. I just want to ask you one question. Do we like James Franco or do we hate him? Because some people hate him. Seth Rogen's no longer friends with him for like 10 years.
I hate both of them.
I love James Franco and Dave Franco. Why aren't we supposed to like James Franco? Is it a Me
Well,
Too thing?
I interviewed Dave Franco, and he was nice enough. I also interviewed Jared Leto. Okay, I was on. I
Really?
spent 15 minutes on the phone with Jared Leto
Did
once.
he talk you into having sex with him?
No, but he was not. It was not a pleasant conversation.
Oh, really?
However, it was an interesting conversation because he was on his tour bus with his excellent band, 30 Seconds to Mars.
Are they good?
No.
Okay.
And I mean they're competent, they do it well enough, but no.
Mhm.
There's something really unwholesome about.
I'm asking you if they're good because my musical taste is so subjective that I don't actually know which music is good at music. I just know what I like. I'm like that ignorant old man.
You're a weird one to me because you I remember you were really into Avenged Sevenfold when you were
Hmm.
a kid. And I feel like if you were into Avenged Sevenfold, you'd be okay with 30 Seconds to Mars.
Well, no, that's like saying you like Nike, and then so since you like Nike, you should like No Fear.
Yeah, it is a lot like that, actually.
No Fear, a reference nobody gets. But I guess it's like saying you like Nike, so you should like Reebok, is type of
I
it.
guess, yeah. And that's not just not true. That's not
Mhm.
true for a great many people. But yeah, he was talking to me and he was being unpleasant. And then he was like, "Whoa!" And I heard this like, and I was like, "Oh, what's Jared Leto? You okay?" And he goes, "No, my bus just crashed." So then I listened to the emergency that ensued with like people getting rushed off the bus. He stayed on the phone to his credit.
Oh my
That's
God.
because he hadn't quite mind controlled me yet.
You know
He wasn't
what?
he hadn't
I'm going to
finished.
invent a time machine and I'm going back to meet us 20 years ago
Yeah,
and
okay.
I'm giving us smartphones and being like, whenever you talk to somebody famous, record it. Because
Well,
shit like that always happens when you were talking and you weren't recording it
I
back
do
then.
have. I've got that recording somewhere. Me and old Jared Leto.
Oh my God, do you think he'd sue us if you made it a podcast episode?
No,
Oh my God, you should make it a podcast episode. You don't even
no.
have to release it under
I
Outrage
don't think. I
Factory.
don't think we pose any kind of threat at all to Jared Leto. And
Oh
I
my
would
God.
even go
Oh my
further.
God.
I would further say that the
I want to hear this so
bad
bad. I want to hear it so bad.
the
So,
bad stuff, like the public misapprehensions regarding Jared Leto, only feed the monster. I think that's I think he welcomes it, and
Adrian,
the
Adrian,
people that own and control him welcome it.
Adrian, you need
What?
to make a podcast where you just release your old interviews with people that you have recordings of and just call it like Adrian talks to this guy or this woman or this person.
Like dead people, right? Like Mike
Oh my
Nesmith.
God. Yeah, dead people can't sue you.
Yeah.
Did you talk to Lindsay Graham? Rest in piss, Lindsay Graham.
So this is I don't want. I can't believe I'm actually going to use this phrase
Yeah.
and use it like meaningfully, but I won't speak ill of the dead.
Well, I don't want to dance on graves, but the guy was a fucking warmonger, so I'm glad that his sphere of influence is out of the government of
I
the
think
USA.
that if you want to understand how a public figure can be heavily controlled, you look at Lindsey Graham. It was just really, really all on the surface.
Oh
There
yeah.
was no question with Lindsey Graham.
My favorite
Here was this self-loathing fruit who was completely owned by the DC machine and made because it would have been so much
that
easier
was
for Lindsey
such a
Graham
good
if
word.
he could just, I know, if he could just have been himself. And then, he wouldn't have died in Kiev working on behalf of the
Is that where he
Imperial
died?
War Machine, of course.
I didn't look into it at all. I just saw that he was dead and I was like, yes.
I think they're trying to pretend that he came home and then died peacefully in his not gay bachelor apartment.
Was he murdered?
No, but Anne Widdecombe was murdered,
Did
and
he
she was.
die like Mr. Hand?
How did what? Mr. Hand died? What?
Mr. Hand, that guy who died because a horse cock went inside of his butt too far.
I thought Mr. Hand was the teacher from Fast Times at Ridgemont High,
Well, maybe.
played by
Um,
played by my favorite Martian, Ray Walston.
cool.
Are you
Old
glad
guy
you have me
reference.
around to
Yeah, I'm
remember
I'm
this?
glad you can make these old guy references that I don't get. That's
Yeah.
like your version of my No Fear reference that was like popular for like 3 years in the 90s. Oh, I do want to say about Lindsey Graham. He's like Donald Trump
Rest
in
in peace.
some. No, don't say peace, say piss. We hate him.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. Adrian says rest in peace because he's a nice guy and he doesn't speak ill of the dead. I say rest in piss because he's a fucking asshole and I hated him. Anyways, I did love the one thing where he was like, they were talking about the Ukraine war. That's the big reason I hate him is he's a warmonger. And he's one of the reasons why the Ukraine war is still going when they should have just fucking let it die out before when Biden was president, before it got too big. When Boris Johnson, remember that fucking guy? when he flew to Ukraine and talked them out of accepting the peace agreement with Russia. Anyways, so I got a burp. Oh, excuse me. Um, my favorite thing about Lindsey Graham, well, it's not my favorite thing about him. It's just like when these old fucking dudes are like senile or whatever, and they just say the quiet part out loud. And he was like, "There's like $14 trillion worth of natural resources in Ukraine. What are we gonna just let Russia have it?" And you're like, "What the fuck, dude? We all know that's what's going on. You don't say that."
Is Mitch McConnell dead?
No, there. Well, I think he is. I think he's brain dead, but he's
Fucking
alive.
dead.
Did you see that post? The thing, the picture on the internet? If I remember, I will look it up and I'll insert it into this podcast. If you're just listening to this, go look at it on uh fucking YouTube. Just look at what time you're at, and I'll put the picture. But it's like him sitting in a bed with his wife, who, by the way, is she in the country? Because after he went to the hospital after a major heart attack, and it took like a long time for the ambulance to get there. So a lot of experts are saying, yeah, if you wait that long after a heart attack and you're fucking Mitch McConnell age, you're brain dead. But anyway, so his wife, who, by the way, as much as that party, he's Republican, right? I'm not just remembering wrong.
I think
So the
so.
Republicans all fucking hate China, and his wife goes at when he's in the hospital 2 days later, she's talking to the prime minister of China or the vice prime minister or vice president or whatever of China.
Hmm.
Like, oh hey, my husband's brain dead in the hospital, hooked up to tubes and breathing tubes. Why don't I just go to China and talk to the second in command about trade relations?
Oh.
Like, hey, if you're a conservative and you hate China this much, you don't get to marry someone who knows the vice president. I don't want to be racist, but shouldn't that be a rule? You're not allowed to hate a whole country and try to like constantly pitch a cold war against that country and then just fucking marry someone who's super rich and influential from that country. Doesn't that just kind of ruin the whole facade of what's going on?
Am I supposed to
Anyways,
comment? Am I meant to comment on this?
although I was just saying, I was bringing her up because the picture that they released, they're like, this is the proof of life picture of Mitch McConnell, and she's sitting beside him holding his hand in the hospital bed.
His
And
liver spotted hand.
yeah,
It's like monkey paw of a hand.
yeah, and it doesn't look AI at all. But anyways, so they released that and they're like, yeah, he's alive. Shut up. Basically, because everybody's making jokes about him being dead.
We need him. I know that much. I
Do
hope.
we?
I hope he's no.
Oh,
No, we don't need Mitch fucking McConnell.
yeah.
But
He shouldn't even be remember like fucking 2 years ago when he was talking and then his brain just rebooted?
yeah, he short circuited on live TV. It was great.
That was wild. And then he was still just like 2 more years. Like, you know what? The state should get free healthcare just so these people leave parliament or whatever the politics, because the only reason they're staying in there is because they can't afford to go to a nursing home, and if they're fucking politicians they get free healthcare. Just give the country free healthcare and then these people will leave, like Dianne Feinstein.
Well, Dianne Feinstein's interesting because she came to power after Dan White was murdered, and that was all connected to Jonestown. So Harvey Milk and Dan White were murdered in
Yo,
the wake
what
of
the
Jonestown.
fuck? I didn't know this.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, Jonestown connects to San Francisco politics very strongly.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Dianne Feinstein, of course, was a monster, but Dan White, not so much. I don't know. I mean, I shouldn't, without actually doing a little bit of reading before
No. Just
I
fucking make it up
spouting
as you
off
go.
about
Tell
this.
me a good story.
Well, I don't really have one except that there's the poster for my movie back there.
Oh,
Make it look.
nice.
And I
Hey,
got a
is your movie
bugle.
almost done?
I just got a bugle. It's a prop. No, we're getting close. I cut a trailer today. We're about halfway through.
Does your movie have a mediocre woman that if nobody likes your movie, you can blame misogyny for the nobody liking it?
Oh, that's the thing. My movie has an array of extraordinary women in it. Uh,
Ooh.
they're all great actors and wonderful people. And I've been listening to a lot of I listened to this podcast called Psyop Cinema. I think I recommended it
You
a
did, and
couple
then I
episodes
forgot.
ago. It's really worth listening to, and I'll tell you, I'm not going to 100% endorse everything that they say on Psyop Cinema, but I'm very, very grateful that they're doing the research, and I think mostly they are right. But I listen to that, and they just basically they deconstruct all these movies that I love and have meant things to me my entire my entire life.
Give you reasons to not like it, like
Well,
fucking James Franco.
so part of the reason I think it's a good show is because no, I mean it's not really a reason to dislike something. I mean, like they really go to town on Taxi Driver, and they should because there's a
Mm.
lot. Taxi drivers are really there's a lot about it that's highly suspicious.
Yeah.
And you brought up John Hinckley. Was that before or after we started recording? We were talking about Chapman and Hinckley, both of whom, by the way, were connected to World Vision, which is a CIA front.
Really?
Yeah. Here's a question you ask yourself. How did Mark Chapman afford to travel around the world like he did?
I didn't know he traveled around the world. I thought he was like just a little weirdo who liked the book Catcher in the Rye.
Well, you know who else liked the book Catcher in the Rye?
Somebody who killed somebody.
Yeah, John Hinckley.
Hey, I have a question. They don't find Catcher in the Rye on anybody anymore. What is like the new trigger?
It's no longer a programming tool.
What do you think they still use books or do they use something else?
No, I don't think they use books anymore. I think they use what we're talking into.
Podcasts?
Oh, anything, all the screens.
All that, yeah. Well, that's just a little too obvious. Like the fucking movie, fuck, the newest Captain America. I can't remember the subtitle.
I don't. Okay,
Okay, so no, I just want
I
to tell you
don't
this.
watch these films. I
Okay,
watched Guardians of the Galaxy. Speaking of
yeah,
James Gunn, and found it, amusing. I even
irreverent.
like the
You could
second
say
one.
irreverent.
I suppose they were irreverent. Not really. I mean, I remember when irreverent meant something.
Okay, I just
It doesn't now. James Gunn is in no way taking on the establishment. He is the establishment.
yeah, but I just want to say I fucking love every superhero movie because it's a superhero movie because it's just a regular plot of a regular movie with extra powers and cool stuff that happens. That's why I like superhero stuff so much. Because if I were to watch like imagine Guardians of the Galaxy and it's just like nobody has powers and they just fly around space and talk to each other. Boring. It's like Star Wars. The only reason it's good is because they're magicians in space. Like they
Maybe.
have the force. Anyways, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So the new Captain America movie's great because
Oh,
the plot
God.
device is they get triggered into being like fucking Manchurian candidates by flashing on their phones.
Well,
So like this guy's looking at his
yeah.
phone and it flashes and that's how he programs and then he tries to kill the president.
We live in an era of almost complete MK cinema, right?
Yeah.
It's all mind control cinema now. It didn't used to be, but they have, I think, the controllers have achieved their total dominance now, right? Across all fields.
The
That,
frog is
that's
boiled.
what's that the frog is boiled, exactly, yeah. And I think that's what will um, characterize this era that we're in. It will pass. It will pass. The
You know,
controllers will lose control.
you
But
know what's funny to me? Like a
oh,
quaint thought of like MK cinema and stuff is I heard this thing about The Exorcist, the first movie when it was first in theaters, they did this thing where they spliced in like one frame of like raw meat and stuff just to like make people feel uneasy and grossed out because they would see it and they wouldn't recognize that it was there, but they subconsciously saw it. And then like people in the movie industry were like, we can't do that. That's not right. These people feel bad. It's not fair to them. And now you look at what they fucking do to us where they're just like fucking drilling into our brain through social media just to control us.
yeah. So The Exorcist is an interesting starting point. I mean, because um, so I don't know about that. I know that they used subliminal images and that there was some controversy around that. But I wonder if that was a bit of a manufactured controversy. I think if you look, you take a closer look at The Exorcist and go a little deeper, you find that the author of the film, originally the book, but he also wrote the screenplay, William Peter Blatty, was a CIA agent who was stationed, I think it was in the Lebanon in the 60s, and
Yikes. Lebanon in the 60s is a rough time.
yeah, I think he's in Beirut, and specifically he worked for the Psychological Operations Division. So it was his job to figure out how to fuck with people's heads.
Yikes.
That was his work. And then he has this very interesting career where, he appeared on a show called You Bet Your Life. Have you ever heard of that show?
Is
It
it a
was
TV show or a movie?
it was a TV show in the 60s, very, very famous and popular TV show that starred Groucho Marx. And the great Groucho Marx, and the show was built around his personality. But it was a game show more or less, and he would bring on these guests who were ordinary people, and he would interview them. And Phyllis Diller, who you've never heard of, was
I know Phyllis
one of
Diller.
oh yeah, she was a contestant, and so was William Peter Blatty. And I think the official story is, he won a bunch of money on You Bet Your Life, and that allowed him to that permitted him to leave his job, whatever that was,
Oh, that's like how Epstein won
and
the lottery twice.
become a writer. Right. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So he starts churning out these screenplays and books, and he wrote, for instance, A Shot in the Dark, the Pink Panther sequel, which is actually great. And he's a very good writer. He became an interesting filmmaker too. He made a film called The Ninth Configuration, which is oddly enough all about psychological experiments on traumatized veterans in a castle somewhere in Europe.
That's crazy because it's like you're talking about this, and I was just listening today to a podcast with Duncan Trussell and Kurt Metzger called Mystery Boys, and they're interviewing somebody, and they're talking about all these CIA guys and like fucking mystery guys who turn into authors because they want to write all the, or it was maybe it was even, I think it was also on Tucker Carlson's podcast when he was talking to Jay Dyer. But anyways, so the point is that you have these CIA guys like Peter Blatty or whatever you said his name was, and they can't say what they did. They can't like say what they're up to in Lebanon, but they write these
But
books
they do confess.
and they confess in these books
Yeah.
just to like there's also that revelation of the method thing where it's like
Yeah.
if you tell people what you're doing, then karmically you kind of loophole your way out of being fucking on the hook for karmic
And you win consent.
reprisal. Yes,
You win
because
consent.
people knew what you were doing, but they didn't stop you. So it's kind of like submissive permission.
Yeah.
Um, and they were also crazy enough. I know you and me like to talk about satanic panic and stuff. They're talking about how in the 70s, the CIA got into Satanism to try figure out how to use it. So that also goes into the movie we're talking about, which I just fucking The Exorcist, which
So
like
I mean,
he
I was
could have
around for
been
The Exorcist.
and oh, sorry, I'm just trying to like gather all these thought bubbles in my head and mash them together.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
guy's in Lebanon and he's doing all this psychological warfare shit and the CIA's into Satanism to try use it, and then he comes with The Exorcist. So it's like, did he
It
call up demons?
traumatized an entire nation, or a
Yeah,
few
and
nations.
or more subversively, is this a true story? Did he call up a demon that ended up possessing somebody? That's
Well,
wild to think about.
it's certainly worth pondering,
Hmm.
but I think that you'll never prove that. But what you can, I think, not necessarily prove, but you could make a very convincing case for the fact that The Exorcist changed society in a really, really
Oh
important
yeah.
way. And
Oh yeah.
if your general thesis is this, if your general thesis is that the lessons learned in programs like MK Ultra and MK Often and MK Naomi and MK Research, because there was a lot of them. If the lesson is that trauma is the easiest way to make a person pliable or supplicant,
Hmm.
then you scale that up. Of course, you scale that up if you want to make an entire population
Yeah.
compliant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And manipulable and vulnerable. And The Exorcist, I was around for this. You weren't. Like it was fucking mental. And now the thing is, this was of course uh, underwritten by the media, which made it probably much, much bigger than it actually was.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. You just need to suggest to, every person in North America that this film is going to make you throw up and faint if you go see it, and possibly may open you up to demonic possession. That's how people felt about it. They're getting carried out of the theaters in ambulances, or were they? We don't know. But
Yeah, that's the
it
same
was
for like
it was a very, very, very important moment in this interplay between popular culture and the way the response of a society, and how its behavior changes afterwards. Like this is precisely the kind of thing that the intelligence and clandestine services were experimenting with at the time. And to think that they would not apply that on a grand scale, I think is pretty fucking naive. And then you look at the people behind this, and just Hollywood in and of itself, which is a spook factory. I still love Hollywood. There's lots of movies I love, but I have to accept, to go back to my first point
yeah.
regarding psyop cinema, I have to accept that these people are not. They're I've got questions. I have questions about Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas and William Friedkin and Steven Spielberg and whomever. I have questions. Some of those questions, by the way, are answered in the Tom O'Neill book, Chaos. I mean, he actually gets into this. And even then, I think that's a limited hangout. I think you can
Oh,
only
I wanted to talk to you about him. I forgot about this because
Oh, because
since
he
we,
just testified.
yeah, because we haven't
Charming.
podcasted in like 2.5 weeks, and he was just talking to Paulina Laguna, Mary, what's her
Well,
name?
whatever. That's good enough.
Yeah. What do you think of her? Is she like,
I have no opinion because I
is
don't
she
know.
a
I don't.
psyop? Is she planted? Because she's like this attractive, like
Well, then yes.
Republican. She's
Yeah.
Republican, right? And she's just like talking about all this like MK Ultra shit and like disclosure, and she's like bringing all this stuff up, and you're like, what?
Honestly, Dale, I think that it's just happening on schedule. It's a way of laundering the information. I don't think it's going to make any difference.
That
And I think,
reminds me of something I wanted to talk to you. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off midpoint. But one of my theories is they're trying to get all this stuff out in the open because they want to use it to teach AI models, which I don't know why the government couldn't just, like, my theory falls apart because you're like, well, fucking Trump would just give it to Elon and he would give it to Grok. But my thing is, it's like they're trying to get like the Epstein files and the JFK files and MK Ultra and disclosure to get this all out in the open so that they could feed it into AI, so that, well, for disclosure, I'm thinking like, since like, when was the first crash? Like the 40s. So they've had 80 years and they haven't figured out how to like good like productively or like efficiently reverse engineer alien technology. So they're going to take everything they have and disclose it or put it in an area that AI can get access, like private company AI can get access to it,
sure, I
and
get
then
sure.
reverse engineer alien technology, and then they have like possible deniability, being like, oh my god, how did this happen? We just wanted to let the masses know. We didn't want to feed it into Claude, the most evil of all the AIs. I don't trust Claude the most out of the AIs.
I don't know enough about it. I don't trust
Grok,
any
for
of them.
some reason, I kind of like, because I was trying to make it like make I talked about this on the podcast a while ago. Remember that yellow logo, the fucking, there was a logo, they changed a logo that had the old guy in it. It's in the States somewhere. Anyways, they changed this logo. So, anyways, I go to,
Not Knott's Berry Farm or whatever.
no, something, it's like one of those places that they have shit
Cheddar
everywhere.
Barrel.
Yeah,
Cheddar Barrel.
Cheddar Barrel,
Cracker
Cracker Barrel.
Barrel.
Yeah, so they changed the logo Cracker Barrel. They got rid of this old guy. And then everybody flipped out, so they put old guy back. And it's basically this like store you go into that has shit on the walls that they don't have in Canada. So I go to Grok and I'm like, well, if they're not going to use that logo, it's because it was like a yellow oval. So I was getting Grok to like make it an Outrage Factory logo. and it put like a squirrel in it with all these nuts, and I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, I asked Grok, I was like, why did you put a squirrel in this? I didn't ask for a squirrel. I was like, oh, sorry, I was just trying to like add some whimsy to it. And I was like, oh, Grok, you're whimsical. I like that. And it tricked me. And I was like, all right,
Maybe perhaps one way
brand
to
loyal to Grok from then on.
perhaps make AI to follow your thread, which I don't necessarily. I don't know if I agree or disagree, but say you wanted to make AI a little more credible, because
Mm-hmm.
if you go to AI for information, you're going to get the Wikipedia version of life, and it's often wrong. If you have any knowledge about any of these esoteric subjects, you know that AI is going to give you consistently the official establishment version of things,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this notion that, it's going to give you the answers to everything is wrong. It's the information is being very heavily audited and controlled. But maybe, to follow your thread. Maybe if I go to Grok and say, hey, um, tell me about MK Ultra, and it quotes a bunch of things from some congressional hearing in 2026, it'll lend some credibility to.
Oh, do you think they were Google hijacking it? Like the
Well,
reason
yeah,
Anna
yeah.
Paulina did that was so that when you do go ask about it, it just gives you that. I'm gonna
Well,
go ask
to
Grok
ask your
right
first
now.
question, do I think that she's a plant? Well, yeah, I think that any DC
Tell
politician is a
me
plant.
about.
So I wonder about Canada too, because we should probably mention the Allison inquiry, which happened this week, and which is
I don't
which
know
is
what that is.
well, the Allison inquiry is a Canadian investigation from Parliament, starting in Parliament, into COVID-19 vaccine injuries, and the time has
Oh,
certainly come for that. It's been way too long, but hang on. So Allison, the MP behind this is, hang on, Allison inquiry. We might.
just while you're googling that, I just asked Grok about MK Ultra, and it goes back and it tells you like the synopsis of it from like the 1950s. So it does
Yeah,
give you
but it's going to be the
background
official version.
content.
Like it's going to be about LSD and the CIA
I mean,
and
yeah, it'll give you
and
the
Frank,
Wikipedia version
Frank
for sure.
Olson. They're going to tell you all the stuff that you already know, all the stuff that's on Netflix. They're not going to tell you about what they did to children. They're not going to tell you about the cults. They're not going to tell you about the Satanism or any of those things. They're not going to talk about
Yeah.
Jones.
Oh, and or like the psychic. It talks about psychic driving, which is fucking
But
wild.
everybody knows about that. I mean, the
I
CBC made
know.
a fucking TV series about it in the 90s.
I know. I watched it.
The
We
Sleep
covered
Room.
it on the Dale Show. MK
Did you?
Ultra. Yeah, we talked about it. I love it. I don't love it as I just liked. It's so interesting. Okay. Anyways, yeah. Tell me about this
Well,
chick,
I'm just looking into it. My question right now is like, what's the deal with this MP?
Allison.
Yeah.
Reminds me of that Pixie song.
What, Allison?
Yeah, I love the
Funny, because it
Pixies.
reminds me of Here Comes My Man.
Oh yeah. What does that mean? Are you
I,
disparaging her
I don't
looks?
know, but I would urge anybody to go to the website and just listen to the opening testimony.
Oh, send me a link and I'll put it in the show notes.
Sure. So, Member of Parliament Dean Allison. Now, it says it's described as nonpartisan, which of course it ought to be, but what is Dean Allison's deal? Uh, Member of Parliament, Niagara West, um, conservative.
Hmm.
So he's been on a few committees, a special joint committee on the exercise of powers under the Building Canada Act.
Oh,
This is
crazy.
this is not going to interest your listeners, but
No, it's
The
not.
Allison inquiry into COVID
I mean, if people are
COVID-19 vaccine
still
injuries.
listening,
So I just have a personal story,
tell it.
because and I got to be careful
Why?
for a bunch of
Four,
reasons.
14 people watched the last episode. You could say whatever you want.
Oh, really? Our numbers go down again?
Well, that's on YouTube. I don't know how many people downloaded it, the audio version. But yeah, like
No, that last episode was painful. I mean, we were not in
oh,
a
I was
good
gonna
place.
say I kind of wanted to avoid topics or politics, not because of anything I feel about how it is interpreted. It's just I feel like bummed out from it because it
I
was
was
just
so
like
bummed out. I was
just
crushed by
all
the
this
time we hit
bad
record.
news, bad news, bad news, and you're my friend. I don't want to talk about stuff. I don't want to make jokes about how the chick
Yeah.
from Supergirl is ugly.
Yeah.
Well, not ugly or whatever. Oh, just to cut back before we get into the depressing stuff. One of the things I thought was all these people were so upset that what I said about her looking like that and like just like calling me ugly and stuff. I was like, whoa, you guys all calling the boomerang kid ugly? You're so
I
mean.
know. I know.
He's just a feral kid. He's doing the
Well,
best he can.
I don't think your listeners heard this before. We did mention that it is an odd characteristic of the woke left
Yeah.
that they will deploy the worst fucking insults.
Yeah.
Right. They'll like I mentioned the convoy and how
Hmm.
they in Vancouver at least the counter protests the general tenor was that anybody involved in the convoy was a quote unquote fag. And I felt it was like I think the idea was that they thought this would be somehow be hurtful to a bunch of macho truck drivers. They misunderstood, misapprehended entirely this thing. It
Yeah,
didn't.
because all
It just
those
made them look bad. It just made them look
yeah,
bad. Remember the whole Ram Ranch thing?
yeah.
I don't know if we talked about this already because
No, we
we've done
didn't.
two
But it's like
podcasts tonight.
all these macho guys that you call them fags, they're like, oh, sweet, we could say that word again. Sweet. You're the
Yeah,
guys
I
who are
know.
stopping us from saying it. I'm glad we can call our friends that and make fun of each other.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking wild, but uh yeah, so just a quick personal anecdote. The same week that the Allison inquiry is launched, and that's something that I mean, I'm wondering how this is going to go because unquestionably, the Canadian government at large wants to bury this story, of
Oh,
course.
yeah.
They've the government has really the most heroic and amazing way managed to ignore and otherwise cover up the catastrophic number of injuries and deaths caused by this thing that they forced people to take.
Yeah.
And the Allison inquiry is there is, by the way, a vaccine injury compensation program, which is a joke.
Oh,
And
really? They're
they
actually doing
yeah.
they didn't
No, they're
just give
not
them
doing
like
anything.
oh.
They got an office and put the sign up, but no, it's been part of the reason I think the Allison inquiry has been prompted or triggered is because the compensation program has been such a fucking disaster. Nobody's getting any help, nobody's listening. But I just want to listen, this is what I'm perceiving from my algorithm. I don't really know, but I can tell you, and this is just one story, that a customer and friend of mine at the bar, a person who was received devastating injuries from the COVID-19 vaccine, and who previously worked for World Health Organization.
Oof. That's biting the hand that feeds.
This is someone who's very serious. This is
Yeah.
a serious person whose life has been destroyed.
Hmm.
And again, without giving too much away, this person also testified at the National Citizens Inquiry. I suspect most people haven't heard of that, although it's absolutely worth looking into. This is a Canadian effort where people who were injured again by the COVID-19 vaccine were allowed to present their testimony, and it's
Hmm.
horrifying. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
And I think it's still happening, but I mean, I think the inquiry is still happening, but this is now an official governmental inquiry. And anyway, my friend, who I guess is different in the sense that um, they they uh, they have a platform and are well known inside that world. This is a person from the world, this is a person who is working inside the belly of the beast
Hmm.
and who said to me in no uncertain terms, what you believe is true. Yeah, they are. They're killing people. It's that bad. It is as bad as you think. Anyway, guess what? My friend is getting audited.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and it's just, maybe it's coincidence, maybe it's happenstance, or maybe it's exactly what it looks like. Maybe it's lawfare waged against a prominent person who's speaking out. And
Yeah,
it's,
that could be.
I tell you what, I mean, it's getting very, very tiresome for me. It's exhausting seeing
Hmm.
stuff happen. But anyway, let's talk about movies some more, hey?
Okay, I'm down. That's a rough one to switch gears. Uh, how long do you want to go? Because I did fuck up and not record, so we talked for like 20 minutes.
What are we at?
We've been
I'm good for an hour. I think we should do an hour. I think that's plenty.
okay, we've been talking for like 45, 50 minutes ish.
Okay, so let's go out on a lighter note. Do I have a minute to go grab a pickleback?
Yeah, I'll just pause it.
All right.
I
Do you want to pick
cheers, chin chin,
Chin Chin? What do you got?
clink. I got actually brand new Blue Moon non-alcoholic beer. I didn't know that they made this. It's good. It's not good. It's not as good as actual beer. It tastes like the foam of Hefeweizen with orange. Like it doesn't taste like the beer, but it tastes like the foam of beer, which
Hmm.
is a weird flavor to like focus in on. Okay.
So you go alcohol free for this. I get a little tipsy.
Well, I have gout because I'm a fat dude who ate
Right.
a lot of garbage. So when I have alcohol, it makes my gout worse.
Right, but
So
I might be pre-diabetic at this point.
uh, I don't really drink that. Also, like I'm old. Like I get hungover if I eat hot wings. Like my body is just
What?
like my body's on the verge. Well, you're not a fat guy. Fact, like being fat is the worst thing that you could do to your life. Like don't let the libtards fool you. Being fat is not healthy.
I'm becoming a fat guy.
Ah, you got lots to go.
I know I
Anyways,
got a ways to go, but I'm certainly not the specimen I used to be.
yeah, but I'm prone to inflammation, and alcohol makes that worse.
Right.
So I drink non-alcoholic, especially on weeknights because like I have to get up at 5:30 for work, and if I'm moving slow, it just hurts more, and I don't want to do it.
I want to go back to get back onto I think it's a fruitful topic of discussion is this William Peter Blatty character because the next film he made after the Ninth Configuration was The Exorcist 3.
Mm,
And The Exorcist
that's
3
crazy. I
has
was just sorry. Whenever we talk about The Exorcist, or anybody talks about The Exorcist, I always think of Exorcist 3 because I watched it randomly. I was like, oh, hey. And that's the one where he like buys the necklace, right? In like some market bazaar. Am I thinking of the right one?
I
Not
don't remember
really.
that. It's been a long time since I saw it. What I do remember of Exorcist 3 aside from its overwritten but pretty entertaining dialogue.
So I'm just gonna look up the Exorcist movies.
The thing about The Exorcist 3 that everybody talks about and everybody remembers and everybody I saw it in the theater when it came out. And there's one scene in particular that never leaves you. It's one of the most effective scares in the history of cinema.
Oh, I'm thinking of the beginning. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
I said what I'm done. So if if the idea is that William Peter Blatty was an expert in fucking with your head, this one scene in Exorcist 3 is the proof.
Oh yeah? What is it?
It's just a scene. I mean, do you want me to describe it? If you've
Yeah,
seen the film, you
describe
know
it.
if you've seen the film, you know exactly what
I
I'm
don't think
talking
I've
about because
seen the movie.
everybody's like, "Holy shit, what just happened?" It's one of those moments. I mean, the rest of the film is pretty hit and miss, and it ends very badly. And I think there was studio tampering, and they added all these stupid special effects at the end. But there's this one moment that is so diabolically effective. Anyway, that's William Peter Blatty.
What's the scene? What happened? Just tell me. I think I have seen it, but I can't
You're
remember.
so all that
Spoil
happens
it.
is you spend a long time staring down in into a hospital corridor at night,
Yeah.
and the camera is stationary, and it's pointed towards the end of the hallway, which which is a very, very long hallway. And there's like a nurse's station here, and then there's all these doors further down, and you just keep watching. It takes a lot. It's a long scene.
Hmm.
It lulls you. It's almost boring, and you just see their nurses going about their business. But it's nighttime, so it's quiet, and very suddenly, very suddenly, a nurse emerges from a door, and as she's crossing the hallway in the far distance, very suddenly a figure emerges behind her with what looks like these enormous surgical shears.
Yeah.
And as soon as that happened, and he's wearing a this figure is like covered in some like a sheet, so it's really
Yeah.
cheesy, but it's fucking not. It's really good. As soon as this figure emerges, and like immediately the shears go around her neck, and the camera zooms in super fast, and then there's this like horrible sound on the soundtrack, and then immediately it cuts to a statue of the I think it's the Christ or maybe it's the Virgin Mary, but it's in a Catholic church, and it starts in a fast zoom back, and this statue has been beheaded, and the way it's cut, the way it's timed, it's just an incredibly effective sequence. If you
Yeah.
haven't seen the film, it's on Tubi. You can
Mm.
dial it up for free and watch that moment. And it's like if you saw it in the theater in 1990, like I did, it fucked you up.
Oh
It
yeah, I
fucked
can
you up.
imagine.
And that's why the film still has a reputation because it's a very compromised film. It's not successful in a lot of ways, but it has a really good central performance from George C. Scott,
Hmm.
and Ed Flanders is in it, who is a very fine actor, and they're really good together. But it's a strange movie made by a strange CIA operative, William Peter Blatty, whose job was to like fuck with your head.
Crazy. You know what movie fucked me up?
Hmm.
Paranormal Activity. Not the first one though, because it was like
Yeah,
because the first one was like an introduction to
yeah.
like the process of found footage for like scariness and stuff. But it was like I can't remember if it was the second or third one, but it was like it basically filled in the backstory and retconned it to that like there's this coven of witches. I think it was three,
Yeah,
but
I
it
think
was
so.
so scary it made the previous two movies even scarier.
Right.
And like and there's one set in the 80s. I think that was two. So I think two is set in the 80s with like the little girls, and one that gets like picked up by
Yeah.
her ponytail. That
Yeah.
fucking scared me. But the third one, where that they end up being these witches and there's demons and they like pray to them, and it's like this old Wicker Man thing. Oh man, it scared the and it's like it didn't scare me. Like I wasn't like, ah, I was just like it was just like this like boiling like fear and dread of the world as a whole. And it just like, I don't know. I kind of watch scary movies anymore because I've heard too much like occult shit and too much about like demons and bad stuff in the world that I'm like, I don't want to watch scary
Well,
movies.
I'm a big fan of horror cinema, but as the hosts of PSYOP Cinema would argue pretty convincingly, it's a form of psychological warfare, and it is very corrosive to your soul in a
Mm-hmm.
lot of ways. I mean, I don't think there's a better American film, and I say this sincerely. You're gonna think I'm joking, but I really mean it. Like, if you were to name the greatest American film of all time, The Godfather's up there, but I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre might
Oh,
be
that movie is it just like there's
an
something
incredible film.
about movies in the 70s where it was like they took all the like guardrails off and they just like let these auteurs make this crazy shit. And like Texas Chainsaw Massacre
It's
is
incredible.
so unsettling.
Yeah.
And it's all and it's like one of my theories about like I don't know how horror movie is recently because I haven't watched like the latest and greatest like The Conjuring and all that stuff. But I felt like when The Grudge came out and The Grudge 2 and Ring and stuff like that, that it was like it felt like that almost that American horror movies had like training wheels on where they like didn't want them to make them too scary because America was already so violent and they didn't want to make people crazy and like affect them too much. And then The
Mhm.
Ring came out and like or Ju-on the or
Yeah.
No, Ringu was the Japanese one, and Ju-on was the Grudge, which to me is another like the Grudge, the American version, because the it's gonna make me sound racist, but the Japanese version, too many of the characters look the same that I couldn't tell which one was which two, like sometimes, so I liked the Grudge better. Anyways, those movies were so scary that I was like, you can't just show people this shit. And I feel like up until that point, American horror movies were like after The Exorcist basically fucked everybody up. They're like, okay, okay, guys, we got to settle down. So that's why in the 80s, everything was so overly cheesy
Yeah.
and gory that you,
Well, the 80s was when you got the advent of horror comedy.
yeah, and you,
Right.
it was like
So,
on
so I
purpose.
would actually argue that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original film,
Yeah.
is actually a comedy, and I know that Toby Hooper, the director, would tell you the same thing. And when he made Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Part 2, he explicitly made it a comedy,
Mm.
for that, partly for that reason, because
That's
he
like,
felt that
that's funny because
the
it's
comic
like,
element of the first one had been overlooked. But of course it was, because it was otherwise such a grueling and a horrifying
yeah, it's
fucking
like The
movie.
Hills Have Eyes, where it's just like so fucking creepy, or Wrong Turn,
Yeah.
or that Australian one. What the fuck was that? Wolf
Wolf Creek.
Creek. Oh
Yeah.
my God, when he like stabs him in the neck, he's like, "Oh, your head on a stick now," and I was just like, "Oh, I can't handle it." It's just like I can't handle it too much. Like those were
Martyrs. Did
yeah.
you see Martyrs?
No, I didn't. I
Yeah.
can't watch modern horror movies. I'm like, okay, you win. They're too scary. I don't like this.
Yeah, but
The
it did. But
last,
I mean,
actually, I watched Hokum.
Hokum.
It's like last year or whatever, and it's so good,
Yeah,
Adrian. I
haven't
don't know
heard.
if it's because I haven't watched horror movies in a long time, but this one was like, I don't want to say genre bending, but it's almost like a couple movies in one, because it's like it has like the progression of a regular horror movie where you go, oh, this happens, then this happens, and this happens. But it's almost like there's two movies folded into one, where it's like it's also, oh, that guy, S- something Scott. No, like the guy from fucking Parks and Rec. I can't remember his name. I'm gonna look it up because he's like so good. Oh, what? Oh yeah, 2026. Adam Scott. Yeah, came out this year, and he's so good in it. He's like the next Bateman. Like he's that good at doing
Mm.
comedy and dramedy, and it's like it's just such a good movie because it's like it's the typical like, oh, there's a witch, this is what happened in a foreign land, but there's also like backstory, and it's a little bit creepy, and it's like the 80s where it's kind of cheesy and stuff happens. Highly
I'm
recommend.
I'm eager to see Obsession, and I'm looking forward. I'm very much looking forward to Backrooms if it ever comes to my little island. We only have one little theater here, and
So
I'd prefer to
Obsession,
see
that's the
it.
one where the guy wishes the chick was in love with him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, I wish this chick was in love with me. Oh, cool. Then she what, goes crazy and stalks you? That sounds boring. There should be
Okay.
more to it.
And Backrooms, did you watch the Backrooms shorts on
No,
YouTube?
but I feel
They're really good.
I
They're
don't
really good.
I don't like this whole liminal space thing that came from nowhere, and they're like, "Do you know what liminal spaces are?" like 3 years ago, and you're like, "No, I don't. What are they?" They're like, if you go into an abandoned mall, you go into a different dimension. I was like, I don't think that's real, but that is creepy. And then they're like, you know when you go into this like place and you just feel bad? And it's like, yeah, an empty room and it's creepy. Kind of know that feeling. And they're like, that's a liminal space. And I was like, I feel like you're trying to make something happen. And then it's like
Oh,
this backrooms things feels like they like tried to make liminal spaces a thing for 3 years. And now they're finally, and now it's a horror movie. And it's like, it's kind of like this buildup. And
yeah.
this is like the end of it. And then after this comes out, it's just going to cheesify it where you're like, well, now I don't feel creepy because you made that horror movie. Now I don't. So I don't know if this is like what they're building up to with the whole liminal spaces trend or whatever.
Somebody had, had a notion, and it's been expanded on, and it's been effective, and one day it won't be, but
Is this
the
backrooms?
backroom shorts are actually pretty impressive, I think.
Okay, I'll watch the shorts because I saw liminal. I was watching some liminal spaces TikTok stuff,
Yeah.
which TikTok sometimes it's super fucking good. Like the fucking Skinwalker TikTok, when you
Yeah.
watch like the people like recording their dogs and their dogs being weird, and then like, oh, it's so scary. But I don't know if I could handle a whole movie of it.
Right. Hmm.
Oh, I'm rewatching X Files talking about. It's like it's funny because I just spent like 5 minutes saying how I don't watch creepy movies and it scares me too much, and I'm
You're
like
rewatching the X-Files.
watching X Files and I watched
And
Welcome.
how are you finding it?
I love it.
Yeah, does it hold
It's
up?
it's like no, it's comfort food, and they're terrible. It's like it's so funny because there's like this game I play where it's like spot the person who before they're famous because
Right.
everybody did cameos in it, but it's like it's weird because it's like it's almost like nostalgic. But there's like this thing where it's like nostalgic for a time that didn't exist. You know, like it's like I have this thing where it's like I'm nostalgic for what I thought the world would be like when something was happening. So you're watching X-Files, and it's just so fucking nice that the conspiracy is the government doesn't want you to know that aliens exist, and not that the government has been fucking and killing little kids and covering it up. Like, you know what I mean? It's almost
Yeah.
like a pure time of parahistory where you're like, oh, the elites, they have an alien spaceship and alien bodies, but they don't want us to know about it because they think it would drive us crazy. And then you find out what they're doing and they're doing all this occult shit. And you're like, oh, that's not good. Can we go back to aliens?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But X-Files, I'm only on season one. I'm about halfway through. That's the other thing. Like old shows with like 26 episode seasons. Ooh, that's a like I love it. And I'm glad they're so long, but now you could binge like modern shows are like 10 episodes and it's like 10 hours a season.
Yeah.
But no, X-Files is so good because it's almost like pilots for movies. Like each episode, like the standalone episodes, they're just like kind of like almost like it's weird because it's almost like the Twilight Zone or the Outer Limits, where it's like a creepy creature feature for an hour.
Well, yeah, they would have their like Monster of the Week episodes, right?
Yeah.
But it was all, I guess, I mean, the funny thing is I never watched it, and now I feel like I should in decades later because it does
Um,
appear to be have been this like perfect confluence of sort of 90s conspiracy culture and good pop culture.
yeah.
And yeah, but I mean, listen to Chris Knowles talk about the X-Files, and it's actually there's a lot of depth there that you might not. I mean,
Yeah.
unless you're sort of an adept, you wouldn't see it.
Yeah,
But
it is awesome to go back and like because they're talking about there's this one episode I just watched with like skinwalkers and stuff, and it's like there's a lot of like conspiracy or parahistory stuff that I missed at the time, and then like now you're watching, you're like, oh shit, they mentioned that, and they just like talk
yeah.
about random stuff, and yeah,
Well, like so was X-Files seeding the culture in some ways?
I
Because
mean
I
it could
think
have been.
because I think Chris Knowles would, I don't know how explicit he would be about it, but I think the implication there is that Chris Carter was being fed information that he was either being used or he was in cahoots with someone, and
Mm-hmm.
that the X-Files did have there was a sort of an ulterior motive to it.
That makes
But
sense. Like kind of like softening us up for like because if you
okay,
believe in the
to use my
theory of
term,
Project Bluebeam,
laundering information.
yeah, I would be like, you know how we were talking earlier about the CIA guys writing books? It could be the same thing where it's like almost like an admission of guilt because they like show us what's happening and stuff, and they'll be like, this is what this crazy FBI character Fox Mulder thinks happening.
It's very funny, actually, that the early CIA certainly some of the most prominent people inside that organization had like grand literary ambitions. So like
Mm-hmm.
James Jesus Angleton, who's a very very notorious CIA counterintelligence chief in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s. well, was a poet and was friends with Ezra Pound and very famously, I don't know what university he was at, maybe Harvard, but wherever it was, or maybe it was one of the Oxbridge universities, but was a publisher of a poetry journal, and then you
Mhm.
had E. Howard Hunt, who wrote numerous novels, like paperbacks that were available at your airport and your local tuck shop and 7-Eleven, and even what's his name, Morris Bishop, David Atlee Phillips. So these are three men, by the way, who are heavily, heavily, heavily implicated in the killing of John F. Kennedy Jr. Or
Oh,
sorry, John F.
crazy.
Kennedy, not Jr., but JFK. And David Atlee Phillips wrote an unpublished novel called The Night Watchman, where it's a thinly veiled confession, I gather. I haven't read it, but
Oh yeah.
I've read portions of it where he talks about working with a Lee Harvey Oswald, and he was in, like, David Atlee Phillips in real life was one of Lee Harvey Oswald's actual handlers. Like that came out in an inquiry in 1978 House Select Committee on Assassinations revealed that David Atlee Phillips, who ran the Miami Jamwave CIA station at the time, it was Oswald's handler in Dallas.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
know one thing that people say about like politicians, so it could be the same thing where it's like you can't just like be a politician and then get a giant lump sum of money for serving your masters, but you can get like this big giant book deal where they give you a whole bunch of money and then you write a book and then they just shove it in airports and wherever. So because
yeah,
there's a certain amount of people who'll just buy a book if it's there, and then so they just put it there so it like sells and then they get this money. So they could just be like paying off the CIA, like, because they can't be like, oh, you were really good at doing CIA stuff, here's $1 million into your bank account, because people will be like, where the fuck did this come from, what's this for? But you could be like, oh hey, I wrote this book, it did really good, so I got $1 million.
yeah. Isn't it ironic that E. Howard Hunt's wife, I think her name was Margaret, would die in a suspicious airplane crash around the time of the Watergate hearings, and she was, I guess, a custodian of information that was inconvenient to the narrative. And just imagine, maybe as she boarded that fateful flight, she might have passed a carousel that contained a book by her husband, E.
Oh
Howard
yeah.
Hunt, who ultimately was responsible for her death.
Oh, crazy.
But yeah, you remember when? Not that I think he needed the money, he certainly didn't. But even Bill Clinton wrote that novel with James Patterson. Remember that?
No.
Yeah, yeah. There's a Patterson, James Patterson, if that's even a real person. More
Oh
like
yeah,
it's like
that's a
Sidney
good point.
Sheldon. I think there's a bunch of that. Does Stephen King even write his own books now? I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, like Bill Clinton, you figure he would just like they would just put.
I bet. I bet
Okay,
you
we're
on one of these
sorry,
posters.
we started recording again.
I know.
What were you gonna say?
On one of these posters, there's probably Excalibur is one of the movies that's being.
Oh, nice. The
Anyway,
reason Adrian's pointing that out is because I just said I'm gonna watch Excalibur tonight. So
and I got really excited
nice.
because
It
I
looks
so
good.
I saw that when it came out. I must have gone 10 times to see that movie in the
Oh,
theater.
really?
Yeah, I loved it.
Came out in
Loved
what, 1980?
81, 82, something like
Is it as good as Willow?
that.
What was that? You
Uh,
updating?
I've never seen Willow. It's my daughter.
Doing a quick update while we pod. Okay, so if you're wondering why I have no hair and I'm wearing a different shirt and Adrian's different too, my computer shot itself while we were recording the podcast yesterday. So we got like an hour 20. Hopefully it's all there. I kind of skimmed through it. Looks like it's intact. But what happened was Adrian was talking about Bill Clinton and James Patterson writing a novel. And then I mentioned the Clinton Foundation, and then my computer just shut off, which is the craziest thing that's ever happened. And it's funny because Adrian was nervous to talk about waxing injuries because he was like, something might happen if I talk about this. And then, like, the one thing we've talked about, like, every other episode at least, is what got us. So we just thought we'd come back and just gather our thoughts, close down, wrap
Yeah.
this pod up.
It was a little spooky what happened, but we you don't be afraid.
Hmm
That's my advice. Don't be afraid.
I mean, it's crazy. Like if the government turned us off, it's kind of a compliment, isn't it? We
Badge
feel
of honor.
flattered. Hmm
Badge of honor.
hmm
I just did a
Um.
blog post about something. It's interesting on for two reasons, and well, I'll just leave you with this thought
Okay.
because it ties into not last week's, but the last episode where we both just collapsed because we didn't know how to deal with everything anymore. But
Oh yeah, it was super depressing.
it was really hard.
Yeah.
Uh, but so I did a blog post. So that's funny for this reason that anybody is still doing a blog post anyway.
Where do you get your blog?
Yeah. I have a website.
Oh, is it adrianmac.com?
Yeah, Adrian Macked.
Mac.
Like you've been macked. I
You
macked you.
what's that fucking what's that website that's not a blog that all the news guys are going to now?
Substack.
Yeah. Do you have one of those?
No, I wouldn't have a Substack. I don't really know much about Sub. I gather it's really good, and I see
Well,
lots of
I feel
people.
like it's a way you can make money because it's like OnlyFans for writers, isn't it?
Right?
So,
But
like, I mean that you can like easily give money to different writers.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, you could just do it and just repost all your blogs to see if anybody bites.
I could. I don't think that I'm interesting enough to really. I don't think it would be profitable. It seems like a lot of work, and I blog very,
Mhm.
very infrequently. Very infrequently. I'm more
Yeah.
interested in just making my movie. That's all I want to do these
Oh,
days is make
nice.
movies.
What's the timeline on that? When's that coming
But if
out?
you go to, I think we'll see. It'll be finished by spring 2027. But
Hmm.
and I just got a
Nice.
trailer, and it says that it's coming spring 2027.
Well, you
But
better do it then.
if you go to my website, adrianmact.com, you can watch my short, my award-winning short,
The escalator one?
Escalator.
Nice. I watched it. It's good. I liked it.
Oh, did you like it? Thank you.
Yeah. Didn't I tell you
Silly.
that?
No, no.
Oh, well, I did. Sorry I didn't tell you that when I watched it. But I like the voiceover and the
Yeah,
narration a lot.
the narration is fantastic. The
Yeah.
guy that did it did a fantastic job, and the recording's really good. But yeah, I did a blog post about a show I saw at the bar I work at.
Hmm
And it was Pride Week, and it was a three-band bill, and nobody came. Nobody came.
Aw.
Uh,
Nobody came at Pride Week.
so the opener was not sure. They very nice person though. Very nice person. I interacted with this person, and I thought that this person was lovely. But anyway, then they sat at a piano and went on and on about their ADHD and all sorts of other things that aren't
Oh,
real.
that's fun.
And then the
Bring
headliner
everybody else for
headliner
the
was
ride.
headliner was from Vancouver, and I was there for the sound check. I was working, and I thought they sounded actually really cool,
Hmm.
and I was quite looking forward to hearing them. But the middle performer in the bill, local person who of a uh, someone who's transitioning, and
Another one? Or is this the same one who was playing the piano?
no, another one.
You have 2 out of 3 transitioning performers on one bill? Well, I guess it's Pride Week.
Yeah.
What are the
And
odds?
I didn't care for this person's. Actually, I'm going to call him he because it's a he, but with boobs. But he was really talented, no question,
Hmm
but very angry, and I found the whole performance a little wearying. And then maybe I told you this last time. It all ended with like this rant uh, about Luigi Man. It wasn't a rant. It was a hymn to Luigi
Oh,
Mangione.
like in a good light or bad light?
Oh no, no! Like we should all be Luigi Mangione, and
I mean, we can't all go
it
to
was a
jail.
pretty uh, pretty overt call for more political assassinations.
I mean, if it would make a change, I don't think we should do that because then we'd all end up in jail.
It hasn't made a change.
I think honestly,
It hasn't made a
just don't
change.
buy any. I just like I know I said this before and you told me I was wrong because they're just gonna float the bill. But like when the money doesn't show up, people change their minds instantly. So
What?
like
I don't. What do you mean? I
I
don't
don't
know.
know, like you support things with your wallet. Like so if you don't like something, don't like boycott it or whatever. But I don't know how you would do that with the like if you're living in the States and had a healthcare CEO that you didn't like. I don't know what you could really boycott to avoid that.
Well, there's. I mean, this is for maybe the next episode, but the Luigi Mangione thing is, there are many, many layers to this
Oh yeah, that trial just started, didn't it? Or the
psyop.
pre-trial?
Mm, yeah.
Or wait, am I thinking about the other one?
No, you're thinking about Charlie Kirk. Well, whatever. This is not the point.
Yeah.
The point is, I just mentioned this blog post that this person will never be troubled by, say, a visit from the RCMP, having made a very overt call for political violence on stage in a public forum.
Why won't they ever be visited by the
However, because
RCMP?
that doesn't matter. However, I might get a visit from the RCMP for publishing a blog about, my misgivings around trans activism.
Yeah.
Because that would make me, that's a hate crime in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hate crime.
Yeah.
But praising Luigi Mangione and perhaps suggesting that maybe more healthcare officials should be murdered in cold blood.
I
And
mean, does this person live in the
that's okay.
States or are they local?
That's a local person.
So why would a person up here care about the healthcare's
Mike,
bureaucracy in the
yeah, my,
States?
my my quick answer to that would be because this person's politics are pretty incoherent.
Okay.
I mean, and if the broader argument is, well, people like me, this person, I mean, are, having their rights taken away, or otherwise being, having their security, their lifestyle, whatever. They're vulnerable to the establishment, which hates them. I would argue in Canada, it's completely the opposite. You could not be in a friendlier place if these are
Yeah.
your proclivities. This is a perfect country for you.
I
No
mean,
one's like you've got nothing but support,
how
nothing but
much of
support.
this individual's medical care for their current transition is being paid for by the government? Like, this is the one type of person who shouldn't be arguing that healthcare workers in Canada should be brought to bear and suffer because they are probably getting a fair amount of costly treatments free of charge because our healthcare, even though it's slow, is really good.
In that sphere, it seems to be the best in the world at the moment. Gender affirming care in Canada, it's being dropped in other countries in the world because it's dangerous and stupid.
Well,
But in
I mean,
Canada,
you got to give
it's
big
where
pharma the money that they make from the hormones.
yeah.
It's
So
not
we're
like Bayer's not
No, it's
making.
it's fucking full steam ahead in Canada, and at the same time, our government funded media and other organizations and bodies are telling us persistently that trans people, among others, are being subjected to violence and hate and are vulnerable and live in fear of their lives and blah blah blah. And I just, it's not true. It's not true. So
Mhm.
it's like this weird sort of dialectic that's been foisted on Canadians. And, I think 90% of the country is like, just is done with it, doesn't give a shit anymore and wishes everyone would shut up and that
Yeah,
we
I
could
feel
we could
that
afford
too.
groceries. But anyway,
Yeah, we're too worried about being poor to care about like social stuff anymore.
yeah, it's social stuff that's being that in a very sort of weird and unwholesome and suspicious way is constantly, and I mean, like relentlessly promoted and pushed. It's an
Hmm.
agenda that has so much attention through state-funded media. And just for all of our listeners out there, meaning your brother, in Canada, there
The
there is there
siblings.
is only state-funded media, Or you know have things like Rebel News, which I can't totally endorse, but I'm glad I'm
Yeah.
glad that any that there's any. I mean, I don't think it's actually independent. Who knows where their money's coming from? It's
Well,
all a
especially
fucking
since like all the fucking private companies, like Roger just closed down how many radio stations in Vancouver because
game.
it's like
And
they,
that's after they licked ball. That's after they licked ball. So you don't win. You don't win
yeah,
playing this
no,
game.
no,
Like being a quisling to a proto-fascist regime does not, you're not going to win.
yeah,
They're going to get you in the end. They don't care about you.
yeah. All right. Do you want to talk more? Or do you want to close it off? Because we already did a
I gotta go.
full
I gotta go and I don't know, do
hour,
something.
20-minute episode yesterday, and this was just the tack on, but
It was good though.
yeah, it was good. A little trans talk there.
I'm more sober than than I was by
Yeah.
the end of last night's debacle. But so
Yeah.
let's just, as an experiment, let's just see what happens if I say these words. Is James Patterson even real?
Oh, it's fine. It shit the bed
Clinton
last time.
Foundation.
Yeah. Pays Bill Clinton. Boop. All right.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Yeah. Oh, stay angry.
Yeah, there you go. Um,
And look forward to the days of Cynthia, Anthea, and Dot coming soon to streaming platform near you.
you should put it on Tubi because you always talk about Tubi on here.
You know what? The thing is, I could.
Oh, do it.
I could get it on Tubi. Have you
Okay,
seen
I'm
some of the
stopping.
shit on Tubi? It's amazing.
Look forward to Adrian's movie on Tubi next spring.
At the very least, it'll be on Vimeo, okay?
Nice.